Welcome, everyone, to another day in presentation hell. With us, we have Timothy Sabo, who is the Senior Director for Brand and Creative for Checkers Rally's Restaurants. Tim has also worked at many storied ad agencies, Leo Burnett, GST&M. You've also worked on the client side for Krispy Kreme, Fuddruckers, and you make your own tequila.
I've made some tequila over the years for sure. You have to give him my nickname too.
Oh, Timbo?
Timbo.
It's Timbo.
Timbo. It's like
Timbo.
Tim Sabo kind of squished together.
There we go.
Timbo.
Timbo.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
So, yeah, Timbo.
Alex and Timbo.
I thought you might have grown out of
You know what?
Timbo
I
since
got
college.
Timbo back in high school. It stuck around. People call me Timbo still. I'm used to it. So Timbo it is. Yeah.
Right. I've known Timbo since college. And in college, he was Timbo. And that's like 30 years ago. So, yeah, he's been around the block a few times.
We'll find out here as we talk about all this. Yeah.
So, you're here today. Thank you for coming. Oh, by the way, I'm your host, AlexAnndra. Usually James does these, but I'm doing this one today. You have been pitching and presenting for over 30 years, starting in the agency business. And just for context, you are, at your heart, you're an artist. You're an art director. You're a creative soul.
Creative soul, yes. Dad, business guy. Mom, artist. Painted
That's
and
right.
all that. Kind of little mashup of both of them.
So
and,
the mashup of left brain, right brain?
Yes. So I've been very fortunate to get a job at some big agencies along the way, Leo Burnett in particular. First thing I worked on when I was there at Leo Burnett, when I was a little wee one, was how to do a tray liner for McDonald's, like for a Happy Meal. And then they put me on Hallmark, made me work on a baby shower. My question to them was, "What's a baby shower?" I didn't know what
You didn't know what a baby shower was?
I didn't know what a baby shower was. So, and I learned very quickly.
So hang
Yeah.
on. So you were a guy from Texas
Yeah.
making Hallmark ads for baby showers.
Yes.
Had you ever seen a baby at that point?
I've seen some babies, but not in the celebratory fashion for an event like that. So
how do you pitch that? Like, I mean, you're not the audience.
Well, what I
So
learned
you're
at,
some like 23-year-old wise ass being like, "Here's my ad for your baby shower."
at
Hallmark.
Leo Burnett, there were 2,000 people at this ad agency.
Yeah.
And it was survival of the fittest. If you couldn't freaking figure it out and make a presentation and get it done, you're out the door.
Learn by fire.
Learn by
Fire's
fire.
hell. Variation on theme.
So,
Yep.
yeah, early on at Burnett, you had to learn how to sell the idea and get things done.
So how'd you do it? How do you sell an idea?
Well,
especially when you have some dumbass suit like screaming down your neck.
I work for one of the smartest / meanest women in advertising. Her name was Cheryl Berman, and she was one of the lead creative directors at Leo Burnett. And when you were presenting ideas to her, storyboards or whatever, for
Right.
whether it was McDonald's or Hallmark or whatever, if she was done listening to you,
Yeah.
she was done, she would pull out, she'd get her purse, get her compact, and flip it open and start just completely.
So you're dismissed.
Completely freaking ignoring you. So I watched this and I realized you better be engaging, otherwise you're freaking screwed. So
Okay.
so at Burnett, you had to learn how to present ideas. And you've seen Mad Men, of course. You know there's like a copywriter and art director. I was the art director, but my copywriter, Dave Rieger, who's wonderful, great writer, but he was very timid for presentations. So it's kind of like an Abbott and Costello thing or like a team thing. You'd go up there. Since I knew he was going to be kind of timid and quiet with his presentation, I had to be a little more bubbly and for the presentation.
Were you Abbott or were you Costello?
I was
because you were really skinny.
I was I guess the skinny guy then. Yeah.
So you were Abbott.
I was Abbott. I don't know who's who. I just know there's Abbott and Costello.
Who's on first? What's on
Sonny
second?
and Cher. I was
Cher?
I was Cher. I was Cher. So yeah, it was just so Leo Burnett was a great place to start. Survival of the fittest. I was there for 5 years in Chicago.
So did she ever like pull out the face
No,
powder on you?
Never got the compact.
Never got the compact.
But I cut my teeth with some other very great creative people, so I learned how to get through it and do a good job presenting. And yeah.
Have you ever been like pitching to a client and you know you were just like eating it and you were losing them? And it just like, have you ever been in a presentation when you knew that your audience, it's just going south?
At my next job, which was at DDB Needham Advertising, there was a client.
I worked there.
You did?
In New
yes,
York.
That's right. I worked
You were in Chicago.
I worked for the Dallas branch for a while.
Okay.
And I had to present some stuff for a brand called, it was some taco place, some taco restaurant thing. And my boss sent me by myself to go show this work to this client, head of this taco restaurant. Big burly Texas guy, some name like Bubba or some bullshit.
Bubba likes it.
And I show him all these ideas that are a little out of the box versus the normal stuff he was expecting. And
Timbo ideas.
Timbo ideas.
You showed him Timbo's ideas.
And I never forget what he said to me because it just rings in my ears today, which was, Mr. Sabo, that work has about as much chance of selling as a dead duck. A dead duck. So I was like,
you're a dead duck.
I knew there's going to be no convincing for me to make this guy buy this work. So I thanked him and I went on my merry way. And it wasn't the work. It was just that he had no ambition or vision for something out of the ordinary. So I was like, that's that. And that was that.
So did you ever go back to him? Did you come back with new ideas?
They went,
did they take you off the account? Did you walk out dejected? Like
sometimes you tank a project because you want to get off the account. You know.
Did you do that?
I've
That's
done
like passive aggressive 101.
Well, on Kellogg's, we'd worked on Kellogg's for a while, back to Leroy Burnett, and my partner Dave Rieger and I wanted to not work on Tony the Tiger. We wanted.
But it's so great.
It's great, but not working on it because you knew exactly what they're going to make you do, and so we purposefully tanked the project so we'd get put on the Nintendo instead of That's Tony
probably more fun than
I remember the
Frosted
commercial we
Flakes.
presented had someone whose tongue came out of their mouth, and the tongue went around their head and it licked something, and that was enough to disqualify our storyboard.
That's kind of gross.
From present.
So you did that on purpose?
We did it on purpose, yes.
Passive aggressive.
Yes. So that's the bad one, but plenty of good ones along the way, and no Tony the Tiger for me. We called it El Tigre.
So you worked on McDonald's. You worked on some taco company. You worked on Krispy Kreme.
Krispy Kreme.
So do you know, back when I was in advertising, I used to use Krispy Kreme donuts to bribe the team to come to status meetings, because status meetings were so boring, and it was a telecommunications client, so there was a huge team, and everybody had to come to this Monday morning status. It was the media team, the creative team, the print production team, the broadcast production team, the research team, and the account team, and even finance to make sure the bills got paid. And it was just a horrendously long meeting where we went through every detail and every outstanding item on the account. So I would buy a couple dozen boxes of Krispy Kremes on the way to work on Monday mornings. And I swear to God, by 11 o'clock, I had a raging headache. Just a sugar crash. Oh, what's this?
Time to cure your sugar.
So now we have more junk food.
Yes, you do.
Thanks, James.
Hi, how are you?
Hey, James.
You want a burger?
I will have a fry.
Because you don't need enough of this?
Oh, my gosh.
Oh, my God.
These look okay.
What are those?
These are called loaded fries. And
They are loaded.
Loaded with healthy stuff like cheese and bacon.
So, yeah,
and
as we were
naughtiness.
saying,
So, special delivery. Do you always get
wow.
do you always get deliveries during presentations or just a special occasion?
it's just for you.
All right.
I'll try this.
Any napkins in there?
No, I think that
Okay.
was, we're weak on that. I can
Well,
take care of that. You have
okay.
a drink? You want liquid?
I
ready
don't
type?
know. This is delicious.
Yes, no?
Wow, this is turn into a foodie episode all of a sudden.
All right.
Look at that. Uh-oh. Okay.
I need a napkin.
Back to Krispy Kreme.
Is that diet? That Coke?
You want some?
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay, did you drink from it?
Finger licking good. It's another company.
That is
Okay.
really good.
Yeah.
All right. Anyway, so
Krispy Kreme. So here's the deal.
making America fat again.
I went from agency side
Yeah.
to client
Client
side.
side.
So did the shift, and which means at the agency you report to the client. Now suddenly I'm the client working inside the corporation, but being in charge of the creative. So at Krispy Kreme, I was in charge of all the creative for the company, which was, as you can imagine, super ass fun.
Yeah, how do you sell a donut?
Very easily, because for Krispy Kreme, I felt like Willy Wonka in charge of the chocolate factory.
It's just like cooked sugar.
And back to your question about bribing people I realized a dozen donuts at the airport will get you an upgrade very easily.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because I'd have a stack of coupons in my wallet to give people, like gate agents and things, and
So
it works.
Krispy Kreme, that got you to first class from like back of the bus?
It got me on flights I couldn't get on, got me this, got me that. But Krispy Kreme was a powerful tool to have and super fun. And how do you sell it? Well, for Krispy Kreme, thanks, sir. James, right?
Yes.
Thanks, James.
My pleasure.
All right.
Thanks.
This is a Baconator.
Take it.
It's called a Baconzilla,
Got some
actually.
fries?
Baconzilla.
Baconator is the other guys.
All
Most
right.
greasy.
It was a Baconzilla. It still is. I'll tell you.
Thanks, James.
Wow. I think I just gained 10 pounds in this podcast.
So Krispy Kreme was super fun, in-house client there. And how do you sell it?
So are you the client and the creative
Yes.
director? So you're really just selling to yourself?
Well, no, my clients are inside the building now. Operations, HR,
HR. That's an
you
exciting
know,
lot.
operations. I say operations. All those departments are now my clients. 'Cause
Franchises? Are they
working,
franchised?
franchise work, all that work. I mean, anything that's consumer facing, from coupons to commercials, I was in charge of. So
So you just did all that design yourself?
no,
Or you had a team?
Hell
do
no,
it?
hell no.
So did your team have to pitch to you?
Yeah.
Were you nice?
But back to the agency days,
Yeah.
I knew of awful people that would look into compacts or ignore you or be egomaniacs or complete dicks. So what I realized at Krispy Kreme was now that I was the client, whether I was working with internal staff or ancillary ad agencies, I learned how to be respectful and treat them with.
Were you the nice mentor?
I was firm, but I think you know me that I'm relatively silly. So it was a balance of humor with expectations, but it was good.
Constructive criticism?
Yes. So, yeah. So a lot of presentations with internal staff, freelancers, agencies, all doing the work, and I'm evaluating all of it and picking what goes forward and pitching it forward to make sure everything's being done on time, on budget, with creative excellence.
Creative excellence. We have to have creative excellence.
Yes.
Tell me about your favorite presentation where you just totally killed it. Just went
Favorite
in,
presentation?
sold, where you were like, I was so good, the work was good, everything we did was spot on.
I had two once. I worked on Bud Light as well.
So you've just done booze and junk food your whole life.
I know a lot of booze, a lot of junk food.
No soy, no beans,
little
no alfalfa.
video games along the way to keep
No
keep it active.
avocados.
No avocados.
Nothing healthy
It's been
whatsoever.
oddly a lot of restaurant stuff. Even Chili's was in charge of Chili's for quite a while.
Also
Yeah.
known for their organic, vegan.
They're very
menu.
very vegan,
Yeah.
very organic.
Right.
But for back to
Those are
Bud Light,
really
I had
good.
to present once to a group of 100 drunk distillers
Mm-hmm.
at this convention, and I had to act out the storyboard because they couldn't see it. I had to act out all the
you
frames.
You
I
got
act,
up and
I
acted?
Act back to the Abbott and Costello thing.
Mm-hmm.
That's act no. So, but there is some acting with presentations. You have to really, it's kind of like
They have to be animated.
you have to the same way. If you're doing an animated movie, you have to go storyboard frame by frame.
Mm-hmm.
For a TV commercial, you have to explain what's going on visually, and it takes, I'd like to say, some a good organized spirit to do it that's effective and clear, but kind of teases a little bit along the way. And yes, so
Do you think you need to have a certain kind of personality to do that, or is that something you can learn? Because, some people are, very introverted. Just naturally, that's how they are. And some people just hate speaking in front of a group. And,
great question, because
and what if you're one of those people? But more and more, especially since we're doing so much more stuff remote, and even when you're on a remote meeting, you have to, I think, be even more animated because you have to make up for that lack of person to
Right.
person. You can't really see somebody's body language. You can't get their cues.
Can you learn it? Yes, but at the end of the day, you are who you are.
Yeah.
So I enjoy taking colleagues of mine and showing them the ways that I do presentations or how I organize them, And I enjoy seeing them grow and get better at doing that because I have a very specific way I want to do it, and they damn well know it.
Okay, so let's pretend for
Scratch.
let's pretend I'm really shy, and junior executive, my first big pitch.
Yeah.
What are you going to tell me to do? I'm soft spoken.
Okay, here it is. Here's the perfect answer. Ready? Let the audience know you're nervous.
Oh, good idea, because that just right there makes you human. They feel
It
sorry
makes
for
you
you.
human. It absolutely humanizes you, and instantly they have empathy for you. You know, so if you go up there purposely, let them literally know. Gosh, I'm kind of nervous about that. They suddenly they relax, and because you're a
Right.
human, and then as you go through the presentation, another thing I do, I've done both.
That's a great
I've
idea.
told people I was nervous. I also ask questions to the crowd that I already know the answer to. Mm-hmm. But I'm trying to get some dialogue going, like what's the name of that store? What was the name of it? Or that movie or that thing? I know the answer.
It was Checkers. No, it's Rallies.
Yeah, no, or the Gone with the Wind, or whatever
Right.
whatever the answer is. I purposely,
I think that movie got canceled.
I kind of purposely stumble to engage the audience so that they think I'm nervous, so they have empathy. They want to. I'm asking them questions. So suddenly
You're waking them up,
So
too.
suddenly they're paying attention. They're engaging. It's not a one-sided presentation. You got some dialogue
Right.
going, and then you got them. You know, so that's true. Both those things are very true, and I do it all the time.
That's a great idea. And that's a great trick.
We got one on the top board. One idea on the top
Yeah,
board.
you got two.
Yeah, I got
One,
two.
let the
One,
audience
two.
know that
Okay.
you're nervous because
Yeah.
it immediately humanizes you and makes them empathetic towards you. And two, ask them questions because you're engaging them, you're waking them up.
Yeah, and the next part would be as you
And
go,
then they have skin in the game because now
skin in the
they're
game. Yeah.
contributing to
Yes.
your presentation,
Yes.
ergo your success.
ergo. That's a good one.
Ergo.
Ergo.
That's
I'm
Latin.
gonna try to get ergo at some point in the rest of this presentation. Today.
Okay.
I'm trying to get the word ergo in there.
And then I'll feel like I'm being listened to.
Here we go. So the next thing.
Ergo.
So as you're going through the presentation,
Right.
what's important is I'll give the Walt Disney guy credit for this one. You gotta tell a freaking story. You gotta tell a
You
story.
mean Walt Disney.
Walt, that guy.
That guy.
That
Yeah,
company
okay.
with the big, the castle and all that.
Right. And princesses.
Yeah. Oh shucks.
I always
yes.
wanted to be a princess.
See?
And
There
here
we
I
go.
am.
Yeah. So tell a story, and the same way a lawyer,
Uh-huh.
piece by piece puts together a case in front of a jury or a judge. You're presenting this idea, and you're going through it piece by piece to spoon feed them where you're going, but not enough to give it away. But you're keeping them engaged, so you're kind of planning out the whole presentation. You know what questions they're going to ask. You're trying to answer those along the way. Then you reveal it, and then hopefully some good things happen. I had this one client once. I'm going to do a demonstration here, which you
Go ahead.
can't see from the camera, but I knew...
You can stand up.
I knew, this involves sitting down. I knew
Okay.
when she started wiggling her foot
Yeah.
that she was going to buy it. So when she started wiggling her
See,
foot,
some people think that's a sign of like impatience and nervousness.
I could tell, no, for this woman, when she started doing this, I knew it was sold
See, I-
because she was eager to talk and eager to comment on what
Okay.
she was seeing. So I knew the wiggle was good.
I used to work for a creative director,
Yeah.
like Gary Goldsmith, who was
Ah,
like
yes.
and when he started shaking
Yes.
his foot in the meeting,
Yep.
that just meant wrap it up, get out, I'm done,
Okay.
like finish
so
this
you've
up.
had a worse experience with the wiggle. I've had a good experience and a bad experience with the wiggle.
That's
So we're
which
doing-
means that you
yeah.
can't always tell people's body language
True,
per se. If
true.
you know that person, then
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah. So tell the story. Tell the story in the presentation and piece by piece, and that's important.
James, are you enjoying those fries?
Of course, you guys were neglecting them. What the hell's going on?
We're
You know, I
trying
could-
to.
I could-
We're
you
trying
know,
to.
There's dripping cheese and bacon on these things? Are you serious? Sorry.
These
Knock
are.
yourself out.
Here's my little commercial.
What? That was
I'm
one of our-
I'm going to turn the camera for this. Checkers, famous seasoned fries.
So
That's what we're known
we
for.
have a question from Patrick, who is our sales guy. He wants to know why those fries are so damn good. Like, what do you guys do? What does Checkers
That's
do
what we're
to
known
those
for.
fries?
There's some famous proprietary
Like, what is
seasoning.
it?
The Colonel has his 11 herbs and spices. There's some kind of secret spice that goes in these. That's what our brand is known for. I was at a ideation session this morning,
Mm-hmm.
a brainstorming session. We're putting various fries on burgers and things because, gosh, people like those.
Oh yeah, fries on
sandwiches
burgers
like
is
that.
great.
Yeah. So do you always have food during these talks?
No,
Or is
we
like a
just did this
special
for
occasion?
you.
Special just for you.
This is for you.
Well, imagine
we
if I-
wanted to make you feel at home.
Wow.
Another presentation trick is
Uh-oh.
make your audience feel welcome.
See?
Product demonstration.
See? Product demo, I like it. Now imagine if I'd worked for Krispy Kreme now, we'd really be in trouble this afternoon.
I
So-
think I gained 10 pounds in this, podcast.
This is good.
How do they make those
And I
donuts?
didn't even have to get out of my car.
All right, well,
See? Perfect. I would have helped
Are
you
you
out,
done,
James,
James?
and brought more goodies.
No, that's all right. Don't worry. This was a great experience. I've had worse things happen than be, plated with a bunch of beautiful food.
so how do they make the donuts?
How do they make the
Are
donuts?
those fried or are they baked?
They're
Because they're
definitely-
very fluffy when they come out of the oven,
They are.
but they don't keep well.
They're having worked for Krispy Kreme. He just got shunned. He got ousted from the presentation room.
Yeah. Well, he got a snack.
Maybe he'll be back
and
for
he's
some
done.
more
He might
goodies.
be.
He'll have some fries for dessert. Krispy Kreme.
These are really good.
Definitely fried. And I worked for the company, and then I was the director of marketing for Texas, so I got to travel around Texas, visit all the locations, and it was a very tempting endeavor because I'd walk into a Krispy Kreme, hey, Timbo's here, and I
Timbo.
would try not to.
The donut man.
He would take a bite and throw the rest of it away. So otherwise, I'd be big as his table. But so we wanted to avoid that. It was great. It was great. Krispy Kreme was a great experience and an easy product and lots of fun. And I was
People love donuts.
I was very fortunate to work on that because one time I was on a plane with my luggage, and my luggage tag said my name, and it said, Global Crave Director, Krispy Kreme Donuts. Some guy pulls me aside. Some guy, as I'm walking down the aisle on the plane, he's like, dude, how'd you get that job? I was like, lucky. I was very, very lucky, very lucky. So
Did he give you a resume?
no, he was just curious how I got such a fun gig. So
How did you get a job at Krispy Kreme?
my
Recruiter?
My went from the agency side
Right.
to Fuddruckers to Krispy Kreme, now to Checkers, and that same CMO, his name is Dwayne Chambers, he took me from place to place to place. So now he's the CMO at Checkers.
So he took you
I'm
there.
working with him once again. So I followed him happily for the last 13 years.
So you built a good
So-
relationship with somebody that you work well with,
Yes,
and
he knows I know what to do, so he gives me my budget, backs off, doesn't micromanage me, and I get to do it. I get to do my thing, and I check in with him when I need to. Otherwise, I do it, do it all. So, yeah.
you also you make your own tequila,
I
Republic Tequila.
along the way, and everyone has their own little story or adventure. I got to, well, let me rephrase that. I didn't have to, I had to. Back to the agency days, laid off. Woe is me. Rather than
You don't really work for an you're not really an ad agency. You're not really an ad executive until you've been laid off.
true.
Like you're not legit in advertising
and
unless
I-
you've gotten fired.
I knew it was coming. I knew the layoffs were coming because this is like in '08 and everything was just busting. The economy was a mess, and I had an idea. At the time, which was, I live in Texas, and as you know, having lived in Texas,
Yep.
people will buy anything that's shaped like Texas, whether it's a tortilla chip or a floor mat or a freaking whatever.
scoop of ice cream?
They'll buy anything that's Texas shaped. So I had an idea to put some liquor in a Texas shaped bottle. And at the time, I called it Texila, which was dumb, but we since changed the name to Republic Tequila. And
That's such a Timbo name.
I started this company, this tequila company. How do you do that? I have no fucking idea. I had no idea at the time how to do it. We're just kind of
Did you make tequila?
well.
So you like fermented cactus? How do you make tequila?
You got to go to Mexico to get that. You can't do it. Vodka you can make in your backyard. You can make vodka in the backyard with these fries. You can make vodka.
Oh, we should make Checkers vodka.
You know what? See, this is suddenly like a entrepreneurial idea.
And then it could be flavored with all that
Yeah.
bacon and cheese and stuff.
bacon flavored
Bacon
vodka,
flavored
fry
vodka.
flavored vodka.
That's awful.
You go
Okay,
to
but
Mexico.
back to how do you make tequila?
Go to Mexico.
I want to know.
Go to Mexico, and they have a plant like this that's called an agave plant,
Agave.
and they chop all the leaves off of it, and then they stick it in this big oven, and they squeeze out all the juice, and then
Is
you
this
have
real?
tequila.
Oh, okay.
Real plant. This is a first class studio.
Yeah.
So
I know.
they they put this big ball the size of a beach ball in this oven, and they bake
cook
it. Then they squeeze all the juice out of it. It turns into tequila, and you can't make tequila in the U.S. It has to come from Mexico.
Why?
Because it's certified the same way champagne comes from a certain region.
Oh, champagne comes from Champagne, but you can have like sparkling wine here.
Yes.
Or Prosecco from Italy,
Yes.
which is much cheaper,
Yes.
but you know,
Yes. Or
sometimes
like
it's just as good.
San Marzano tomatoes have to come from that region, from that soil. Champagne from that region.
So you could cheat. I mean, you could make it and you could call it
It's called mezcal.
that's made in the States?
You can make mezcal anywhere, but tequila has to come from Mexico.
Mezcal and tequila are the same thing, just made in different countries? I did
yes,
not know that.
yes.
Look at that. You learn something new
See?
every day.
See? You can eat bacon, drink tequila, and
Mezcal,
and eat
which are the
donuts.
same but different.
Yeah, tequila. I got all these vices: tequila, bacon.
So you're just contributing to the overweightness of
True,
America. You're
true.
making Americans
Yeah.
fat again.
Sorry, America. So back to the tequila. Bad business partner led to the demise. He got kicked out. Then because I was partners with him, I got kicked out.
Right.
I got a big check written to me as part of my exit package.
Okay.
Cha-ching.
That's good because
And
a lot of founders don't get that check
But
if it hasn't taken off.
Cha-ching, which is now worth zero.
that
Because
happens.
whoever took it over did it wrong.
Right.
What state are we in now?
We are in Florida.
Do you think people care about Texas tequila in
Florida? No.
And so they went to Florida, Colorado, all these ancillary states to sell the tequila that's shaped in a Texas bottle. I'm like, you should sell that tequila
Just sell it in Texas.
As the bumper sticker says, my favorite bumper sticker, Texas, bigger than France. There's a lot of people. there's a
I
lot
thought
of,
you were going to say Texas. It's like a whole other country.
Well, that too. That's another
That's
tagline.
bigger than France.
But I love Texas, bigger than France.
France.
My point is, there's a lot of fucking people in Texas
Who will buy that?
that will buy tequila.
Happily.
So don't sell it in Florida or Colorado. Sell it in Texas. Let's
Definitely not gonna sell in Connecticut.
Let's get Texas done first before we move on to the
Right.
ancillary states. They spent
Right.
a lot of money expanding too fast, burned through all the money. Now it's been bought and resold 3 or 4 times. It's still on the shelf, this product called Republic Tequila, but I'm not involved with it other than hoping it continues to do well.
That's pretty cool that at least it's still on the
Yeah,
shelf.
it is,
I
yeah.
mean, it might be like on a
I have
lifeline,
a few
but it's
bottles
still
at
there.
home, and it's just it was a good lesson learned about business and knowing who you're working with to the best of your ability and making sure you have legal documents and all the accounting is tight, and which it wasn't.
Yeah.
It wasn't. So yeah, that's the tequila part. So
That's crazy.
Yeah, it's
But
true.
that's what's so interesting about like starting your own business is they don't teach you any of that in college. Like what they say in a textbook or what a teacher will teach you, or even now I think more universities are offering entrepreneurship classes. But the human element, do you really know who your partners are? Do you think you know somebody well? You don't. Cash flow, people talk about cash flow, but at the end of the day, if you don't have money coming in to pay your bills, you don't have a business. Like cash flow is the hardest thing about running a business. And you can have a great product and great strategy and great marketing plans and all of this stuff, but if you can't pay your bills, like it stops everything.
Yes, and yes. Those are all correct.
Oh, look, you
things.
agree with me.
See, there we go.
There we go.
We're on the same page. There we go. Perfect. Yeah.
Great. So let's just, I think we can wrap this up. So I'm going to start with your advice for presentations, which I love, is first and foremost, just if you're nervous, tell your audience you're nervous. It builds empathy and gives them a
Humanizes
stake.
you, makes everyone chill out. At that point, they want you to win. They
Yep.
want to be rooting for you. It's
Right.
it's
You're the underdog.
It's like seeing a baseball game versus the Yankees versus. It's like you want the underdog. Come on, you can be. And so suddenly they're rooting for you to do well.
2, involve the audience, ask them questions, even act dumb so they feel really smart, and ask questions you already know the answers to
not-
just to get them engaged.
not
It's
what's
a little
2 plus
fake,
2.
but it works.
So, yeah, just those little things get the it changes from a one-sided presentation to a conversation.
Mm-hmm.
That's what you want. If they're making cracks during your presentation, kind of ad-libbing with you, that's a good thing. It means they're
Yeah.
engaged, they're having fun, and then you got them on the hook. And then you got to just keep reeling that thing in. Yeah.
Number 3, tell a story.
Tell a story.
Beginning, middle, and end.
Just like Disney, spoon feed them everything, like you're presenting a storyboard for Frozen or whatever. In this case, the storyboard for a TV commercial. Give everything piece by piece, especially when it's an idea that's out of the ordinary. You have to realize I have something called the murder question.
Oh.
You have to be prepared for the murder question. Because
What's the murder question? Give me an example.
The murder question is a question that will bring the presentation to a screeching effing halt. You have to think through what question are they going to ask me that's going to cause this thing to get derailed. Like, we can't afford animation, or
that's not a question. That's a statement.
Is this?
So
can
that a murder statement?
It could be. Yeah, it's a question or statement that brings the whole thing to a screeching halt, and it's something, gosh darn, you didn't think through, because they're finding your Achilles heel. They're pulling the rug out from under you during your presentation, and you're effed. And then you're screwed because they've tainted this thing. So it's always important to think through what those murder questions could be, so you can have a savvy answer, or answer it before they even ask it, because they know they're going to pick on this one thing. So it's like,
so you're setting it up. You're
already
diffusing
the bomb.
You're diffusing the bomb before it even
goes off. So prepare for tell the story. Prepare for the murder question. Questions plural sometimes.
Right.
And get her done. Yeah, get her done.
Excellent.
We've covered a lot. We've eaten a lot. We've talked about donuts, video games.
I think. See, it's easy. I told you this would be easy. I had something to say, and I totally went blank. Know your partners. Know who you're in business with. Know
your partners.
But do you ever really know people? I mean, this is somebody you worked with every day, and you just don't know. Everybody's got sides that they don't show.
And one other thing, back to the presentations, is don't rush it. You have the fucking stage.
Yeah.
Take your time. You've seen the idea 10 times. You've had your agency or your internal staff critiquing this thing to a point it's worthy of presentation. Now you're presenting it to people that have never seen it before. You have the stage. Take your time.
Right.
Do it as slow as you need to do it. So don't rush through it. Too often I see people reading scripts really fast, and
which is boring
because they're familiar with it.
They can read it themselves.
Give it to them piece by piece. But back to read it by themselves for PowerPoint presentations. What I hate the most is people that fill their PowerPoints with everything they're gonna say, and then they read it off of the fucking presentation. It's like, just give me the...
Well, when people put too much stuff on the slide, your audience, they cannot listen to you and read at the same time. So if they put all of that crap up on the slide, then they're either going to read it and they've tuned you out, or they're most likely they're going to read it and tune you out, because visual is bigger than audio. It's a stronger sense. The slides are there to support you.
Little bait lures, that kind of touch on what the topic is, but you're going to explain it.
The slides are there to just reinforce the main points.
Too many people fill it up and they can't read it.
You're not writing an essay on PowerPoint.
You're like, oh, I don't even want to look at it. So just enough to tease.
Less is more.
I had one other thing I just thought of.
Go for it.
Practice your presentation.
Oh, practice.
You know how many times I've practiced for a presentation in a room by myself, staring at a wall, just to present, because whether it's stumbling over certain words or whatever, I would literally memorize it to a certain degree, and then because too many people go to presentations thinking, oh, I'll just do this, and they completely F it up. Think through what you're going to say. Present to a wall or to a mirror, and make sure you have the cadence down, the rhythm down, so you can get it out. Yeah.
Always be prepared.
So you said, what do you do with people that don't know how to present? That on your team, I make them present either to me or to the wall, so they will have rehearsed it, and even make them sometimes on their PowerPoint or whatever they have, like say it's a storyboard. Sometimes when I was at McDonald's, I'd make presentations at McDonald's.
Also very good French fries.
40 people watching, all these executives with their pens and doing all the things we talked about, and they're sitting 20 feet away. I would put notes on the storyboard for myself that I know I wanted to hit on. They're looking at the big pictures, but I'm giving myself notes to kind of, so there's ways to get through it. Give yourself little cue cards to talk through what you're trying to do. And one presentation at McDonald's, this goes back to I guess this is a presentation hell comment. There were some big executives, these big men and women, and in Chicago at the time, you'd go out and get drunk all the time in Chicago. This is the thing. You'd go out drinking at night, and one morning I'd go out to McDonald's for this presentation. I was so freaking hungover. I was just a mess.
I can't believe you went out drinking the night before a big meeting.
It's a Chicago thing.
I'm so shocked.
It's a Chicago thing. It's a Chicago thing. So I remember I'm at this presentation. I finished my part of the presentation. I sit down and wait for the next person. And I'm in my chair, and I'm like passed out. I pass out because I'm just tired, and it's morning.
You fell asleep in a meeting?
And the head, one of the head guys from the agency, like big wig guy, I see him walk by me, and I'm kind of drowsy, and he's like, and I see him walk
Did he
past me.
Smack you upside the head? Because that's what I would have done.
I said, I'm about to get fired. He goes to the back of the room. His name is Jack Smith, by the way. He goes to the back of the room. He's behind me now. I'm like, oh shit. He comes back and he goes. He hands me a coffee. Gives me a pat on the shoulder.
Yeah.
He goes to sit down. Never spoke of it again. I was like,
that was nice.
Now that is a kick-ass leader who's like, he knew I tied one on the night before. He gave me a coffee. I don't even drink coffee. Can you imagine me drinking coffee? That'd be bad. That'd be a bad thing. I'd be climbing the wall like Spider-Man. So gave me a coffee and never spoke of it again. So, but I learned at that point. It's like, you know what, Tim? You're here for a reason. You know, get it together.
Yeah. You got a second chance.
Get it together. So,
Excellent.
all right.
All right.
So now we went a little tangent there, but there you have it.
Great.
Let's do a toast at the end with 2 fries.
All righty. So, yeah. No, I want one of these loaded fries.
Okay. Look at that. Uh-oh.
Oh, that's a little droopy.
Okay. And here we go. And
cheers.
It's a wrap.
It's a wrap.